Now here's your host, Bill Teegins.
Hi everybody, welcome to this week's Eddie Sutton Show. Since we last talked, the Cowboys have played 3 games, winning 1, losing 2. Coach, seen a great part of the United States, and you're standing 8-4 in the season.
We have traveled a lot, I think probably as much as anybody in college basketball. We played terrific against LSU over in Tulsa, and then we took a trip to Arizona State. Didn't play quite as well, and then we took a trip to Providence, and we were horrible the first half. I have never had a team play as poorly as we did, and of course in the second 20-minute period, we played very well. Still making a lot of mistakes, Bill. We're fouling too much. We're turning the ball over too many times. Those two things in particular, and just haven't played as well as I thought we would. But now we've got some time to really play or have a chance to correct some of these things. You know, last year we came out of Hawaii and our record was 8-4. We had a lot of time and we had 2-a-day practices, and we really got a lot better. I am still very optimistic that we can get these things corrected, and we'll be a good basketball team when we get to the Big 8.
Yeah, I hadn't realized it until we were talking the other night, 8-4 coming out of Hawaii. Well, let's go to the Mabee Center and the campus of ORU. Take a look at LSU and Oklahoma State. That's our first game.
We can't play any better. We played in this ball game. We jumped out to a 53-26 halftime lead. We shot 64% from the field, 73% at the line. 4 out of our 5 starters hitting double figures. And our defense was just terrific. We forced them into 26 turnovers in this ball game.
Was that the best defensive effort you've had this year?
There's no doubt. That was the best first half of basketball we've had this year. Everything we did was just outstanding.
And again, playing at the Mabee Center has been great for the Cowboys since you've returned to Oklahoma
We
State.
haven't lost a game over there. It has been very kind to us. You can see our defense gave us an easy basket, and Randy converted. Randy's been on a roll. He had 28 points in this game to lead us. There's our defense again, 2-on-1 break. Andre makes a good pass to Randy, and he lays it up.
Randy, again, 28 points, one of 4 Cowboys in double figures in that one. Another turnover, good defense.
Good defense allows you to get some easy baskets at the other end, and in this particular game, we did a super job there. Again, another good defensive play.
Andre Owens with 18 points in this, a career high for the junior college transfer.
He had 18 points, he had 11 assists. We also had 16 points from Terry Collins and 16 from Bryant Reeves, and the only guy that didn't hit double figures in the starting lineup, Keanu Roberts, had 8, but he had 5 rebounds and 4 assists.
Another great defensive effort here.
That's Keontae making the steal and going down and laying it up.
What is it about playing at the Mabee Center, Coach? Really brings out the best in your club.
I don't know, I think it's the best facility in the state. It's a great place to play basketball. Gallagher-Iba is a terrific place. We just don't have the seats that we have over in Mabee. And even though it was vacation time and we didn't have a large turnout from our student body, we still had about 7,500 for the game.
National television audience really saw the Cowboys play.
We're going to have a piece on Dick Vitale later. Tom Dirato got with him, and I think our fans will enjoy watching that. Good enthusiasm. That's what you like to see. I like that sign, Reeves rules. And he ruled the other night up at Providence, but our team didn't. He had 39 points in that game to break his personal scoring record. And as you can see, first half was all Cowboys.
Not even close in that department. They had some injuries, but your defense, they just turned the ball over, really couldn't get the ball even into the front court.
Livingston, their fine point guard, didn't play in this game, and we're not that much better than LSU. Just like Providence wasn't that much better than we were the other night. Strange things happen this time of the year. The other night, Minnesota played Texas Southern. They only scored 14 points in the first half. Kansas goes to Indiana and gets drilled by 20 points. I don't know, during the month of December, you just see strange things until your ball club gets completely together.
Minnesota's game was on their home court, too, I think.
That's true.
Good transition here for the Cowboys.
Another easy basket. There you can see our new football coach, Coach Simmons.
Good job by Scott Pierce inside.
Nice high-low pass.
Scott's not afraid to get in there and throw his body around, is he?
Well, we've got to get Scott Pierce and some of our other players playing better than what they've been playing. Scott was out for 4 weeks, in defense of him, I'm not sure that he's ever really got all of his timing back. But we still feel like that he's going to be an important cog in our ball club as we get into Big 8 play.
It's hard to believe, but that's just a week away. Big 8 starting up.
Well, it's that time of the year. It's a new season when you get into conference competition.
111-67, Cowboys victorious, and so they win again. They go 8-2 at that point, and coming up on the Eddie Sutton Show, we're going to take a couple of road trips to Arizona and Providence. We'll be back with that right after this. Welcome back to the Eddie Sutton Show. The Cowboys on a road trip now. Let's head out to Tempe, Arizona. We'll go take on the Sun Devils of Arizona State.
Well, we beat Arizona State last year in Tulsa, and that's a series that we think is very good as far as the two schools are concerned. Next year, Arizona State is going to come back and play in Gallagher-Iba Arena. And you can see we got started off slowly. This is one thing we've got to make our players understand. It's always important to start out quickly and play well that first 5 minutes, and we did against LSU, against Arizona State and Providence. All of a sudden I look up there and we're down 10-2 here, and I think we're down 16-2 at Providence, and then you're playing catch-up the rest of the night.
Yeah, on the road especially, that's tough.
This ball game, the thing that killed us was the number of turnovers. We had 23 turnovers. We fouled 24 times. They were in the bonus situation in the second half with about 5 minutes gone. When you play aggressive man-to-man defense, you're going to foul, but you've got to eliminate all those nickel and dime, dumb fouls, and we're just committing too many of those. Out of the number of fouls in this ballgame, I'd say half of them were just bad fouls on our part. It wasn't that Arizona State was doing anything sensational. Now, Bryant Reeves goes to the bench with 3 fouls, and our other players during this stretch really played well, and I was pleased to get to halftime just being 3 points down. I thought we're going to beat these guys.
Country in the second half showed a lot of the enthusiasm and the strength that we've seen from him that maybe was gone for a couple of games. He really played well. He
did play well. He led our ball club in scoring. I think he had 22 points, pulled down 13 rebounds.
Nice aggressive move right there to the hoop.
I really believe that Bryant Reeves is starting to play like we want him to play all year long. He's had ups and downs. But in this game with Arizona State, in the game with Providence, and in our practice session since we returned from Providence, he's moving quicker. He's much more active around the basket, both offensively and defensively. So we hope that he's found himself. You remember last year he came out of Hawaii, he was kind of in a slump, and then we got in Big 8 play. Well, he really turned it on, and I hope that that's what's going to happen this year. There's Randy Rutherford driving the baseline.
Yeah, that's a sweet move.
It is a sweet move. Randy Rutherford has played much better than I thought he could play, and just has been sensational. I think he's one of the top guards in college basketball the way he's been playing. It's improved his game, not only shooting. We all know he can shoot it, but he's a better defender, better passer, just a better all-around player and a great leader. You'll see him display a lot of enthusiasm, even though this team's getting beat at this point.
Mario Bennett obviously makes a difference in Arizona State's ball club. He's a good player.
Very good player. And right now, we get out here, we're down 69-62 with about 2 minutes to go, but these guys, our team competed hard. We just made too many mistakes, but we really competed hard. Great left-handed swing shot.
That was a great shot.
And we fight back, and we have a chance. We have the last possession, and we're only down 3 points, and we get a shot. It wasn't the shot we were looking for to tie the game. Arizona State's nationally ranked and a good team, one of the best teams in the Pac-10. There's Bennett. Great block by Bryant. That's a good example of what I'm talking about, being more active around the basket. They called goaltending on that call. That's a 4-point game.
Here's your last shot.
A 3-point game, 72-69. We tried to run a spatial play, and they switched on it, and Randy was left with a much more difficult shot than the way the play is designed. Bill Frieder is a good friend of mine, and Doc Sadler, who I was shaking hands with there, used to be my student manager and also then was a grad assistant when I was at Arkansas.
Now we're in Providence against the Friars.
Well, I'm glad that Tom Dirato, he edited out most of the bad parts of this film. He shows us, I think, mostly in the second half where we outplayed them. This is a strange game in that we turned the ball over 16 times in the first half. In the second half, we turned it over 2 times. And in the second half, we outplayed Providence, but we were so far down that it was just hard to get back in the game.
You had Kevin Miles into the game, I think, about 10-minute mark, and he really hustles, really gives great effort, doesn't he?
Kevin has started to develop. Players develop at different stages, and we felt for the last 10 days that Kevin is at a point where we feel like he can help our ball club, and we put him in there. And I believe with about 10 minutes gone, we only had 9 points. Brian had 7 of them, and Kevin Miles had the other basket. He got a putback. But he does hustle, very active.
I tell you, the country comes up with the block there. We go the other way. A career-high 39 points for him, and he just was so effective for you. Really did a great job.
Well, he opened a lot of eyes, I think, with the sports writers from the East. It was that game was really covered by a lot of people. There were 13 pro scouts at this ball game, so I don't think he hurt himself any there. And Randy Rutherford played very well. Our team had 78 points, and those 2 guys had 65 of them. Our other 3 starters had 2 points apiece. Our third scorer was John Nelson with 3. I've never had a team like that. I've never seen that before.
How much does that concern you that some of the other guys aren't scoring?
No, we're going to be all right. I mean, we know that Terry can score. We know that Andre. We know that Jason, John Nelson, Keontae. Those guys are all potential double-figure scorers. So, I mean, we were joking about it. I mean, you have to think that you have to look at the things you did wrong and go back to practice court and correct them. But, you know, that's what John Chaney at Temple does. He lets about 2 guys shoot the ball, and the rest of them say, if you want to score, get it off the glass and get some putbacks. But we don't play that way. I'm not concerned. I think you're going to have Bryant and Randy do a high percentage of the scoring, but you still got some other guys that can score. So I really think that as we get into conference play, you're going to see that.
I mean, for all practical purposes, this game was over at probably the 10-minute mark, but your guys in the second half battled back, never quit, and actually made a game of it.
Well, we did, and we got it down to 54-42 with about 5-6 minutes gone in the second half, and Randy had 2 or 3 good looks, 3-point shots, and missed them, and they went on a 9-zip run, and all of a sudden you're down 21 again. But I was pleased with the effort and the competitive spirit that we displayed in the second half. I mean, you could have rolled over and you could have gotten beat 30 points. You end up getting beat 15, which is a lot. But I hope that our players learned a lesson from this and it never happens again. I know I was in shock over there on the sideline. I think the camera caught me several times. And as I joked after the ball game, that's Pete Gillen. He's done a great job. This is his first year at Providence. You know, in war, you can surrender. And that's the way I felt when we were down 41-9. But we did fight back, and since we returned from Providence, our players, I think, really have their eyes open, and we've had the best practice sessions. And this is a time when we can practice twice a day, and that's what we did last year when we came out of Hawaii, and we became a good basketball team. And I still feel like this team is going to be pretty good.
A lot of ways still to go, and when we come back on the Eddie Sutton Show, our special off-the-feature guest, off-the-court guest, is a guy that basketball fans all over the country are very well aware of, Dick Vitale. That's coming up next. Welcome back to the Eddie Sutton Show. You know, the Cowboys were on national television again last week, and we ran into a good friend of Coach Sutton's. In our off-the-court feature this week, Tom Dirato has a chat with one of the most popular men in college basketball, Dick Vitale.
Guy he was. I'll tell you, this guy is automatic, baby. He's tickling the twine. He may get on fire. They may have to call the fire chief, burning down the nets.
Here come the Cowboys again. It's a stampede.
Oh, what a nice play. Oh, hello. Good night. So long. Rock and roll time.
Well, that's the Dick Vitale we've come to know over the last few years. And on today's off-the-court feature, we're going to try to introduce you to the other side of Dick Vitale, perhaps one you haven't seen in a while. Dick, welcome to the show. Let me ask you, do you ever get tired of playing, I guess, one of the college basketball ambassadors, that role?
Well, you know, the big thing, Tom, is I don't feel I play it. You know, it just comes part of my life. I think if you have to act it out and have to be something you're not, then you got a problem. I've always been an enthusiastic guy who had a spirit and love for what I'm doing. I think no matter what I've done in life, when I was teaching the 6th grade, I loved being in that classroom. I get letters from my students now, and they say to me, former kids, they'll say, gee, we tell our children, you're the same guy that we watch on TV that we had in that classroom. So it comes very easy to me, and I have no problem with it at all. I just love people. I love being around people. I love being around the game, and the game has been so good to me. My life's been a fantasy.
You and Eddie go back a long way.
Oh, yeah, there's no question. I knew Eddie when Eddie was at Creighton University, when he was starting out in this business on a collegiate level, had a lot of success as a junior college coach. He's had success in high school. And certainly in college, a guy has taken 4 programs specifically Creighton and what he did at Arkansas, Kentucky, and also now at Oklahoma State, taking them to the NCAA tournament, 4 consecutive 20-plus seasons. I just think it's an amazing story, and I think it's great that he's back at his alma mater. This guy had so much to offer to the world of coaching, and mostly to young people, and he's great for young people.
And he's obviously taken Oklahoma State to the next level.
And there's no doubt Oklahoma State now is certainly a contender year in and year out in the Big Eight. Well, certainly years ago when Henry Iber was on that sideline, he had so much success as well. And he'll tell you he owes a lot to Coach Iber for a lot of his success, the discipline, the defense, and many other things that he learned playing for Coach Iber. But there's no question Oklahoma State now, program-wise, top 25.
Do you ever wonder how much more energy Dick Vitale might have left in terms of promoting college basketball, promoting life in general, as you say?
I just love living each day to its fullest. We all realize it can come very short very quickly. I met Mr. Carter here today about his young son, and that hit me home like you can't believe, just talking to him. And I respect him so much, seeing, for example, the spirit he has after suffering the loss of his son, which you guys at Oklahoma State really almost adopted there. And we lost at ESPN a guy we all loved dearly, Jimmy Valvano, a guy that brought so much vitality and spirit to everything he did in life. And cancer took him at such a young age. If I have a wish out there, my wish for Christmas or my wish for the New Year's would be somehow, some way, if we could maybe rally the forces. And I'd like to say this on behalf of Jimmy Valvano. If anybody that's listening, and I know Ed's a good friend of Jimmy, was a good friend of Jimmy's, if anybody listening could take a moment to maybe drop a check care of the Jimmy V Foundation, care of ESPN, Bristol, Connecticut, because I know in my life, and I'm sure everybody out there, we know people we love, people we care about, that every day it seems I find out somebody new has been inflicted with this dreaded disease, cancer, and I just hope we can raise so many dollars that we ultimately, my dream is ultimately to be living. We can hear that beautiful bulletin on television or all over. We have found a cure for cancer.
All right, now, let's share that message that you left on Eddie Sutton's answering machine earlier this week. It started out rather cerebral, but it got more Dick Vitale-like as it went along. What'd you say?
Well, you know, I got to make sure no one was listening. I have a lot of fun on the recorders, and basically it's a message about, hi, this is Dick Vitale calling for Eddie Sutton. Eddie Sutton, a 4-time unbelievable winner at Oklahoma State. We talk about Eddie Sutton, I said, we talk about shot selection. We talk about defense. We talk about the formula for success. Eddie Sutton equals success. Eddie, baby, give me a call. I knew you when you didn't have recorders. I knew you when you weren't such a big superstar. Get a TO, baby, and give me a call.
Now, that's the Dick Vitale we all know and love. Dick, thanks for being with us on Off the Court. And, Bill, we'll send it back to you.
Dick Vitale I knew when I was at Creighton, and of course, like me, he started out in high school coaching, and he went all the way to the University of Detroit. It's Detroit Mercy now, and then he coached the Pistons for a few games. But he's done much better in the sportscasting than maybe he did as a coach. But he's been a great ambassador for college basketball. Whether you like Dick, I know sometimes people say, well, he wears a little thin. The guy does his best job as far as preparing for a game of anyone I've ever known. Like, he wanted me to call. Well, I called back, and boy, he picks your brain on what your team's doing, who your players are, and all that. But he has been good for the college game. And he mentioned that Dick mentioned about Jim Valvano, and whether people support that foundation, I too hope that we can find a cure for cancer. We're having something along with all the other Big 8 coaches this year. If you want to help the American Cancer Society, you know, every time we hit a three-pointer, every time Missouri hits a three-pointer, if you'll adopt your team, you can send in and every pledge a nickel, pledge a dime, pledge a dollar, and every time that a three-point shot is hit by your home ball club, by the Cowboys, then that money goes to the American Cancer Society, and hopefully one of these days we'll find a cure for cancer.
Well, Dick Vitale obviously has been great for the game and never lacks for enthusiasm. When we come back on the Eddie Sutton Show, we'll take a look at what's ahead for the Cowboys. That's coming up next. Welcome back to the Eddie Sutton Show. After a tough week on the road, and it seems like everywhere, the Cowboys finally get back home January 2nd to take on Alaska Anchorage.
This is a good basketball team, Bill. They're a Division II team, but we saw them play in the Great Alaskan Shootout. They beat Jackson State about the same margin and we beat them. They played Santa Clara the other night in the Cable Car Classic and lost by 3. They have about 5 or 6 Division I players that started somewhere else and ended up there at the University of Alaska. A very good basketball team. I think the record is 10-3 coming in here. A ball club that we can't underestimate. They can really shoot the basketball. I think it's the second best team that we faced at home. I think the University of Tulsa is a good basketball team. This team is very good. They're nationally ranked in Division II. So there are a limited number of tickets left. You know, all the students are gone. A lot of our fans are going to be watching football games that day. You know, when we scheduled the game on January 2nd, we thought all the football games would be over. Well, they're not. But there's going to be some tickets available, and if they'll call our ticket office, this might be the only time that people will be able to get in, because after that it's Big 8 time. And, you know, I might say this about the Big 8. The Big 8 is as tough as it has been since I have come back to Oklahoma State. You just go up and down the lineup of the different schools. Everybody is good, and that's why the real season is about here. We open with Kansas State next Saturday.
What's the attitude of the team like right now? Coach, I would think it's difficult when all of the other students are gone out of town. So really all there is to do if you're a player is to play basketball. And as much as you love the game, even that has to kind of wear on you at this time of the year.
Well, there's no doubt that that is a problem, I think, with athletes. But our players, they're on an upbeat. I think they were shocked at Providence, and we have come back home, and we worked hard in our 2-a-day practice sessions. And all next week after the game on Monday, with Alaska, we'll have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday where we can practice twice a day, and we can get better. And believe me, we are going to get better, but the attitude is great. Our players still believe that they're going to be a good basketball team. We just need to get some things corrected. We got to quit fouling so much. We got to quit turning the ball over so much. We've got to do a better job on the defensive board and become better defensively overall. Our shot selection's good. We're shooting over 50%. So I am optimistic. 1995 is going to be a good year for the Cowboys.
Well, your teams have always improved at the break, and so we're looking forward to that again. And that's our Eddie Sutton Show for this week. Don't forget Alaska Anchorage on the 2nd of Gallagher Iva. For Coach Sutton, I'm Bill Teegins. See you next week, everybody.